Linus Ulmark, who really has bounced back through all the rumors, all the dumpster fire, and the disaster that this season. The Sens are hanging on. Tough loss, though, on the weekend to Tampa. They blow a 2-goal lead and let it get away against the Lightning. But, Travis Green was asked, like, how did you go with James Reimer instead of Allmark? And Green basically saying, look, Linus Ulmark needed a day off. It was unavailable for us. They didn't have another game until Tuesday. So I'd be curious, is that fair or foul? Like, what are your thoughts on a goalie saying, I need a day at a time like this where everything matters?
Oh, it's a story. It's a story. I had it a little bit on the radio, like the NHL everywhere today. So the thing with Linus is, and this is kind of the best way to describe it, I think, is he's a Ferrari. Everything has to be perfectly in tune. Mind, body, spirit, everything has to feel good for him to think that he can go out and win a hockey game. There's a lot of guys that are Dodge Rams. They just go. They're just going, and they're going to figure it out, and they'll go. Dominic Hasek was a Ferrari, right? Remember his time in Ottawa? He just didn't play a whole series. It was like he's healthy, he's making every save in practice, but he can't play a game. He was a Ferrari. I put Linus in that spot as well, where for whatever reason in his brain, there's days where he's tired or whatever, he can't go, and it's pointless to put him in that situation. And that's kind of what you're dealing with. So it's got to be nightmarish stuff for the coach to do. Poor Green. He's a Dodge Ram, right?
Yeah.
He played a Dodge Ram. He is that's what he is. So him dealing with this is kind of comical to me. But that's really what it is. He for whatever reason, Linus doesn't feel like he can play. He's not going to play, and he feels like he was doing the best thing for the team. And it's okay if he wins the next 3 games, right? If he's in Ottawa and he wins it Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday this week, all of that goes away. But if he goes and lays an egg tomorrow night, he's put a big bullseye on his back for the explanation of, well, you should have just played last week too. So that's being in the Canadian market. Linus has to deal with these things, and I'll be interested to see how it plays out this week. But
have you ever done that? Have you ever done that?
No, I mean, I never had really the opportunity. I mean, I played 72 games one year. I wasn't taking, I'd want to play every single game. Even when I was hurt and my growing was in half, would I ever say no? Because in your head, it's like one of those teammate things, but not everyone's built the same way.
Kami, did you ever see anything like that?
No.
Or play with a guy like that?
I mean, I'm going to say no. I don't remember it, but I also don't know if I would have really heard about it.
There were some players like that too, though, right, Tommy?
No, I agree. Like one that came to mind, and I never played with the guy, but he's in Carolina now. I've heard the exact same thing about that Anderson, where if he doesn't, if things aren't perfect, he's out. Like he ain't playing. The exact same description, which I think at times in Carolina has gotten a little bit tiresome, where it's like, hey man, like we need you. Like let's go. You didn't
give a goal up all week in practice. How are you not? But there's
I mean, at the end of the day, if the guy doesn't think he can win, I mean, I will say it could lead. Well, it'll be he better play good this week.
Yeah.
Or here we go in Ottawa again.
I mean, I think, in one breath, you appreciate the honesty to say, or the transparency to say, hey, look, I just don't think I have it today. But at the time, it's like, man, like this is what this is what we're paying you for. This is what we're playing for. So, Jacob Markstrom's one that I find that when he gets overworked, kind of, I don't think he's ever pulled himself out, but there's a goalie that when you play too many minutes, you play too many innings, you see a fatigue just based on what I've seen over the last decade or so. Yep. But that was a wild one. And I think to your point, both of you guys, like if Linus Ulmark poops the bed this week, it's going to be a lot of questions on a season that's already been a difficult one for a guy who was a former Vezina Trophy winner.
4 goals in the first 14 minutes of the hockey game.
Kami, finish this sentence. Hearing that Troy Terry is the first player in NHL history to play 50-plus games in a season without recording a single hit is what?
Well, so you sent me this earlier, thank God, because if you would have just busted that on me. So my first inclination was to say soft as baby shit. That was the first one. Then I read it again, your text, and I'm like, that can't be true. So I went and clicked, And sure enough, he's got 0 hits on the year. So then I started thinking about it more. I'm like, but he's a point a game player. He's playing 18 minutes a night, 3 of which are on the power play. So 15 minutes he's out there even strength, about maybe. And I'm thinking like, that's actually kind of remarkable, borderline. Like to go through over 50 games, you're putting up a point a game. So you're in the mix. It's not like you're playing 30 seconds. You're 18, take the power play time away. You're probably not going to be throwing body checks then, but 15 minutes a night, let's call it, for 50 plus games. And not one point, even if you accidentally run into somebody or like, what I mean? Like,
it's hard to do.
That's hard to do. Like, how do you not hey, I'm angling this guy off towards the boards. I know I'm not saying obviously he's not the type of player that's going to take somebody's head off, but I'll just get in his way and rub him out here a little bit. And, it'll help me get back before him and give a little space for my D. This guy's not touching anybody. So I'll take my, softest baby shit was my first inclination right away. I'm like, no hits. But the more I think about it, I'm actually kind of impressed.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I
1,000,000%.
thought you were lying. I'd never heard anything about this before. So I'm
It's really
like,
unbelievable.
wow. I don't know if I'd want to have my name on that record personally. I think
you would lose your. I think you would lose your birthright from Sasky. I think if you were.
I wouldn't have made it if I started let's say I started game 1 and then with my skill set and I got to game 3 with 0 hits. I think by game 4 I'd be back playing for the Albany River Rats.
The only thing the coach and GM,
the
only thing the coaches and GMs did was look at your time on ice and your hits.
That's it.
As soon as the box score was done. What did Kami do tonight?
That's right.
So let me throw this to you guys because maybe our friends at Ozune can set a line when the postseason starts. Over under 1, Troy Terry gets a hit in the postseason.
Oh,
could he taking the over?
It would be great.
Game gets more physical.
Like 6 hits in the first period.
Oh, yeah. What if we're recording right now and they got the Ducks. I was going to send a little tweet out. Toronto's in Anaheim. We got the little grudge game there with Matthews. What if he comes out tonight and just starts throwing his body around? He'll go from 0 to 12 tonight.
Yeah, exactly. I'll show you guys.
I'll show you
introduction.